When we did our quilting retreat last year, I challenged myself to finish as many tops as I possibly could. I spent the entire week quilting and trying to get things done, and I can't remember how many quilt tops I did. It was 6 or 7 or something that really made me happy. This year, I did not go into it with nearly the same amount of enthusiasm. It was a busy summer. I was worn out, and I gave myself permission to just pack my stuff, get there, and decide what I wanted to do. Friday night, we set up the sewing machines because over the years we figured out that setting them up when we get there is the best idea. And I started working on that airplane quilt, which is a mystery bag I bought from the thrift store that looked like it could have been a bag full of scrap fabric, but actually turned out to be a quilt kit.
It is so much bigger than I thought it would be. And there was a problem. There was not enough of the fabric to finish the pinwheels, so I Frankensteined it together and somehow managed to get all of the pinwheels that I needed. A more reasonable thing to do might have been just to replace all of this with a gray or white fabric. I even had white fabric with me for another project. I was going by the illustration and what was already cut, and when I did have to refer to the pattern to figure some things out, this is not the kind of pattern I enjoy as a quilter.
I think that this is a very nice quilt. I'm going to do a tight free motion meander to camouflage the extra piecing I did on those pinwheels. It is perfect for donating to the group that I quilt with. I'm glad I gambled my $1.99. I'm glad that I sewed it, but this just reinforced that I don't enjoy making this type of quilt. I'll probably do it again if similar circumstances arise, but I'm not going to go out and buy a quilt kit like this for myself. A month or two earlier, we saw one in a quilt shop. It was dragons, it was gorgeous, it was expensive. And at the time, I knew as much as I liked it, it wasn't a quilt that I thought I would enjoy making or that I wanted to spend my quilting budget on. This just reinforced that. I like scrap quilts. I have had a big bag of 3.5-inch squares set aside for the trip in the same drawer as the airplane quilt kit. And that was the next thing that I got to work on.
It's called Nature's Vessel. It is a pattern by Moonkin Stitchery. There's a free tutorial on YouTube. It was so much fun. The pattern is written for 5-inch pre-cuts, and I played with the math to change it to what I had. I love it. I want to try this with all the random squares I have and all the different possible background fabrics I can dig up because it was quick and easy. And I started out planning 4 blocks by 4 blocks, but then I decided to make it bigger. That was the theme of this year, was making things bigger than planned. The light squares went into a snowball and 9-patch quilt. This is the fabric I brought to use for that. I don't love this print, but Mom convinced me that I should use the print instead of the back, which is what I had originally planned, and I am so glad I did. Again, this one started out as a 5 block by 5 block baby quilt, and it got bigger, and I also tied it and bound it, and it is ready to get donated tomorrow morning when Mom goes up to the quilt group.
Those two quilts left me wanting to come home, dig through my stash, find everything I could hack into squares so I could make more scrap quilts like that. I didn't pick up my stitching at all week, although of course I brought it with me. I did finish almost all of this shawl. It's 3 skeins of yarn, and I was like halfway through the first skein when we got there. I had the whole thing done before it was time to leave, and actually started a second one, which I didn't bring upstairs because it was just a little bit of progress.
I pieced this little top last year from some coordinating flannel scraps that I absolutely Frankenstein together just to see what I could do with them, and the top was cute. It has been waiting for me to figure out how to quilt it. I had a piece of Northcott grunge that was exactly the right size. So I layered it and birthed it and did some straight line quilting. And this one's getting donated tomorrow too.
With only a couple of days left, I decided to tackle the Patriotic fabric. I made a whole video giving myself permission to throw this stuff away because it's not pretty. It's weird. I don't know why I have red and white striped rainbows. This came in a thrift store find. There is so much of it. I used a ton of it to make another red, white, and blue quilt that I love, then realized I have so much of this left, and it is all cut in 5-inch squares. I'm sure there must have been a plan. I just can't for the life of me figure out what that plan was. And as soon as I told myself I was going to get rid of this stuff, I don't throw away fabric, but I was going to remove it from my life. As soon as I gave myself permission to get rid of that fabric, I came up with an idea in the wee hours of the morning to cut it up and make little sawtooth squares. And I had decided I was going to alternate squares with the blue fabric and squares with the red fabric. I was going to make 20 of them. I was going to use the other red, white, and blue leftovers from that first quilt to make a border. It was going to be easy. And after I pieced the first square, I really wanted something a little more complicated. So I tried this. And the way that that fabric is cut, every one of these squares is different. Some of them have more of the red, white, and blue on the star points. Some of them have less. And then I did red stars with the blue on the inside. And there are 25 pieces in each of these little 6.5-inch unfinished blocks. This is the kind of quilting I love to do. It is so, it's not hard, but it's a little bit fussy and a little bit more challenging. And this is what I needed in my life. This is what I didn't realize I needed in my life right now. So that original plan to make 20 squares went out the window. I counted, I have enough for either 42 or 49 squares, depending on if I lose any little pieces in the process. And losing little 2-inch half square triangles is something I am very likely to do. So I'm going to make stars until I run out of fabric. I'm going to put them together with, I think, 2-inch sashing. I'm not in a hurry to finish it now, but while we were at the coast, I was up Friday morning piecing until the alarm I had set for myself went off and I couldn't avoid packing any longer. We've been home 2 weeks. I have not even unpacked my sewing machine yet because I really do understand now why I only quilt 1 week a year. I wear myself out. I do think I'm going to have the sewing machine out soon because I came home with so many projects. I've renewed my love of scrap quilts and itty bitty pieces. Even though I made that decision not to push myself to get stuff done, I got a lot done. Do you think that's the secret, to just give yourself permission not to do anything? It seems like I've had this happen before. For not planning on pushing myself, it feels like I got an awful lot done, and I am extremely happy with that. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my romantic tangle. If you know of any great scrap quilt patterns that use 2.5 or 3.5 or whatever inch squares, let me know in the comments below because I'm in the mood to make scrap quilts.